Nick was not like other boys. Not because he was bad, or sick, or strange. But because life pushed him into battles he never asked for. His mother, once a gentle woman with a sweet voice, had lost her mind years ago. Some said it was shock. Some said it was grief. Some said she saw something her heart could not carry. Nobody knew the truth. Not even Nick. All he knew was that the woman he called Mommy no longer remembered who he was. Sometimes she held his hand tightly. Sometimes she chased him away, calling him a stranger. Sometimes she wandered the streets, shouting at shadows. And sometimes she sat quietly and hummed songs only she understood. Nick did not know his father. He did not even know his mother's real name. Life gave him half stories. Broken pieces. Fragments of a family he never truly had. But there was one thing he always had. His dance. Nick danced because if he stopped moving, hunger would bite him too hard. He danced because the world felt less heavy when his feet touched the ground in rhythm. He danced at bus stops, traffic lights, junctions, anywhere human eyes could see him. People threw him coins, sometimes bread, sometimes nothing at all. But he kept dancing. He danced to defend his stomach from crying. He danced to defend his heart from breaking. He danced to survive. Just beyond the road where Nick danced every day stood the mansion of Mr. Desmond Adewale. One of the wealthiest men in the entire city. He had money, power, influence, everything the world respected. But he had one thing money could not fix. His daughter, Maya. Once full of sunshine and laughter, Maya had become silent after a terrible sickness that weakened her legs. She could no longer run. No longer jump. No longer play outside with other children. Her smile left quietly one night and never returned. Her father tried everything. Doctors, therapists, foreign treatments, prayers, specialists. Nothing worked. Every afternoon, Maya sat quietly under the big mango tree at the back of their garden. She watched the leaves fall. She watched the birds fly. She watched the world move while she remained still. Until one day, Nick passed the back fence of the mansion and heard something. Silence. A heavy, sad silence. He peeped through a broken space in the hedge of a big flower and saw her. A little girl with soft eyes, sitting alone in her wheelchair, staring at the ground like she had lost more than her strength. Nick's heart tightened. He knew that kind of sadness. He carried it every day. He looked at her again. She looked lonely, too lonely for a child. So he whispered to himself. Maybe if I dance for her, she will smile. Quietly, Nick slipped through the gap in the hedge. He stood at a distance, unsure if he should continue. Then he lifted his hands, widened his eyes, and began to dance. Not a normal dance. Not a perfect dance. But Nick's special dance, the one he created to fight hunger and sadness. He bent his knees in a funny way. He waved his thin arms like a confused bird. He twisted his small body until he looked like a bouncing broomstick. At first, Maya just blinked at him. Then her lips twitched. Then her shoulders shook. Then she laughed. A sound she had forgotten. A sound her father had begged to hear again. A sound that filled the whole garden. Nick's heart exploded with joy. So he danced even harder. Rolling on the grass, crossing his eyes, wobbling like a puppet. Maya clapped. She laughed. He shouted, "Do it again." And Nick, for the first time in his life, felt like a hero. Inside the mansion, Mr. Adewale froze. He heard something impossible. His daughter. Laughing. He rushed to the balcony and nearly dropped his phone when he saw them. His lonely daughter laughing under the mango tree. And a skinny barefoot boy dancing with all the strength in his small body. Mr. Adewale's first reaction was anger. How did a street boy get into his compound? Where were the guards? What if the boy was dangerous? He stormed toward the garden. But then he stopped. Maya's face. It was glowing. Her eyes sparkled. Her shoulders were lifted. Her hands were clapping strongly, stronger than he had seen in months. Hope rose in his chest, slow and painful, like something waking from a long sleep. He hid behind a pillar and watched the boy dance. He watched his daughter giggle. He watched her spirit return piece by piece. And for the first time in a long time, the billionaire felt tears in his eyes. Not tears of fear. Not tears of frustration. Tears of relief. The next afternoon, Nick came again. The same way he did the first day. Quiet. Careful. Hopeful. He had slept behind a broken kiosk the night before. The cold ground bit into his bones. But he woke up with a smile because he knew he was going to see the girl under the mango tree again. He knew he had a mission now. Make her happy. Nick slipped through the hedge and found Maya already waiting. Her eyes were bright, and her hands rested lightly on her wheelchair armrest. She looked alive. Are you ready for today's show? Nick asked, stretching his arms like a clown. Maya giggled. I'm ready. Nick took one step forward to begin. But a heavy voice cut through the air. Stop right there. Nick froze where he stood. He knew that voice. Adults used it right before they slapped, chased, or kicked street kids away. His heart pounded. His legs prepared to run. His breath felt tight. Mr. Adewale stepped out from behind the mango tree. He wasn't shouting. But the strictness on his face was enough to make Nick tremble. Maya gasped. Daddy, please don't shout at him. Nick dropped his eyes to the ground. He had seen that expression too many times. From shop owners, drivers, market women, security guards. He braced himself. Mr. Adewale walked closer, studying the boy. The torn shirt that hung on one shoulder. The oversized shorts tied with rope. The bare feet full of scratches. The thin body that looked like it hadn't felt a proper meal in days. Nick swallowed hard when the man finally spoke. What is your name? His voice was deep. Firm. Not angry, but powerful in a way that made Nick's legs shake. Nick forced the words out. Nick, sir, that is what I named myself, but people called me the mad woman's son. Why did you enter my house? Mr. Adewale asked. Nick stood still for a moment, then lifted his head just enough to meet the man's eyes. I saw her looking sad the first day, he said quietly. I thought if I danced, she might smile. I didn't come to take anything. I only came to give something small. The garden fell silent. The words were simple. But they hit the billionaire's heart like a gentle blow. Maya's small voice broke the silence. Daddy, it makes me happy. Mr. Adewale turned to her. For the first time in months, her cheeks were pink. Her eyes were alive. Her posture was straight. Her hands were moving with excitement. Then he noticed something else. Her toes. They shifted. Just a little. But they moved. That tiny movement nearly brought him to his knees. He turned back to Nick, softer now. Where do you stay? He asked. Nick hesitated, then whispered. Anywhere, sir. Bus stop, under the bridge, anywhere that rain won't find me. Your parents? The billionaire asked. Nick shook his head slowly. I don't know my father, sir. And my mother. He paused, voice trembling for the first time. She doesn't know me anymore. Her mind is lost. She walks the streets. Sometimes she chases me. Sometimes she hugs me. I don't stay close because she's not well. Maya covered her mouth. Her eyes thickened with tears. Mr. Adewale looked at the boy again, properly this time. Not as a stranger. Not as a trespasser. Not as a threat. But as a child. A child the world had failed. He took a slow breath. Okay, he said finally. You can stay. For today. Right here, where I can see you. Nick lifted his head, shocked. Thank you, sir, he whispered. Mr. Adewale nodded once. No stealing. No trouble. No lies. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I swear. Maya broke into a smile. Nick turned toward her with a grin of his own. Are you ready? He asked, lifting his arms dramatically. She clapped her hands. Yes. And just like that, the garden became a stage again. Nick danced until Maya laughed so hard she had to wipe her eyes. And Mr. Adewale stood quietly watching, with something warm growing in his chest. Hope. The next day came quietly. The birds were singing above the tall mango tree. The air smelled like fresh grass after morning watering. Maya sat in her wheelchair with her blanket over her legs, eyes fixed on the gate. She was waiting. For the first time since the accident, she wanted something. She expected something. Hope was sitting beside her like a friend. At exactly the same time as the day before, the hedge rustled. Nick slipped through. Barefoot. Hungry. But smiling. You came. Maya shouted, her face lighting up. Nick grinned shyly. I said I will, didn't I? Before he could begin his dance routine, a voice cleared from the veranda. Nick. It was Mr. Adewale. Nick froze again for a second, but the billionaire wasn't frowning this time. He pointed gently. Dance in the open space today, where I can see you. Nick nodded quickly. Yes, sir. Maya clapped. Daddy said yes again. Nick took a deep breath, stretched his thin arms, and began to dance. Today's moves were different. He twisted his waist dramatically. He made funny faces. He pretended the mango tree was a microphone stand. At one point, he rolled on the grass, stood up, staggered like a dizzy clown, and nearly fell. Maya burst into loud laughter, real laughter, the type that shakes the shoulders and brightens the eyes. Her nanny ran from the house when she heard it. She stood in shock. Even the gardeners stopped their work to watch. Even the guards peeked from the gate. Inside the house, Mr. Adewale felt something rise in his chest. It wasn't fear. It wasn't anger. It wasn't confusion. It was relief. And gratitude. A feeling he hadn't tasted in months. He folded his arms, pretending to look stern. But each time Maya laughed, the corners of his mouth tried to smile. Nick performed like he had been trained on a big stage. But he hadn't. Life was his teacher. Pain was his teacher. Survival was his teacher. When the performance ended, Nick bowed deeply. Thank you, thank you. Come back tomorrow, he joked. Maya laughed again, clapping wildly. But before Nick could slip out through the hedge, Mr. Adewale called. Wait. Nick turned slowly. The billionaire walked toward him. Have you eaten today? He asked. Nick stared at the ground. No, sir. Come. He walked him to the garden table and pointed at a covered tray the cook had just brought. Sit. Nick shook his head quickly, stepping back. No, sir, I can't sit with rich people. I can eat standing. I always eat standing. Maya frowned. Sit, Nick. Daddy said it's okay. Slowly, Nick sat. The cook opened the tray, rice, chicken, and warm plantain. Nick swallowed hard. He hadn't seen food like that in months. Mr. Adewale nodded. Eat. Nick ate slowly at first, out of respect. But when he tasted the food, tears filled his eyes before he could hide them. He covered his face quickly. "Sorry," he whispered. "I didn't mean to cry." Maya rolled closer. "It's okay to cry." Nick looked at her, then at the billionaire. Something strange happened inside him. For the first time in his life, he felt safe. Not fully. Not completely. But a little. Just a little. And that little bit was everything to a boy who had known nothing but fear. What started as 1 day became 3. 3 became 5. 5 became a week. Each day at 4 p.m., the guards already knew what to do. They opened a small side gate. Nick walked in proudly, barefoot but happy. Maya waited with excitement, her hands already positioned for clapping. Nick brought new dances every day. One day he danced like a spinning broomstick. One day he danced like a man running from bees. One day he danced with slow motion steps. One day he danced like an old man with imaginary walking stick. Each move made Maya laugh until her cheeks turned red. But something else was happening. Something bigger than laughter. Maya began to move again. First, her fingers. Then her wrist. Then her arms grew stronger. She tried raising her shoulders. Then one day, her toes twitched again. Nick saw it first. "Maya, your foot moved." She gasped. "It did." Mr. Adewale rushed forward. "I saw it too." The doctor couldn't explain it. He simply said, "Whatever is giving her this joy, continue it." So they continued. The laughter grew. The movement grew. The hope grew. And the bond between Nick and the billionaire's daughter grew strongest of all. The afternoon was calm. The sun rested softly on the garden. A gentle breeze carried the smell of flowers around the compound. Maya sat in her wheelchair with a kind of excitement she could not explain. Nick was already dancing. Today, he was doing his slow robot dance. His arms moved stiffly. His legs jerked like a broken machine. His face was serious like someone reading a big exam question. Maya laughed loudly. She held her stomach. "Nick, stop. My stomach is hurting." Nick paused dramatically, hand on his chest. "Oh. Do you want the super robot dance?" Maya clapped. "Yes." Nick turned around slowly, made a funny beep sound, then moved like he was made of metal. His knees bent awkwardly. His head swung side to side. Everyone laughed, even the guards. But suddenly, Maya stopped laughing. She stared at Nick with a strange, brave look in her eyes. "Wait," she whispered. Nick froze immediately. Mr. Adewale stood up from the veranda. "What is it?" he asked softly. Maya placed both hands firmly on the armrest of her wheelchair. Her face tightened. Her jaw locked. Her eyes focused. Nick stepped closer. "Maya, what are you trying to do?" Her voice trembled. "I want to stand." Silence fell across the entire compound. Even the wind seemed to stop moving. The gardeners looked up. The cook watching from the window dropped her spoon. The guards straightened their backs. Everyone held their breath. Maya pushed. For a moment, nothing happened. Her arms shook. Her shoulders trembled. Nick whispered, "You can do it, Mr. Adewale's voice broke. "Baby, take your time." Maya pushed harder. Her upper body rose a little. Then a little more. Her blanket slid off her lap and fell to the grass. Her hips lifted. Just 1 inch. Then 2. Then 3. Nick covered his mouth with his hands, eyes wide. "Maya. Maya, you're doing it." Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't stop. She kept pushing. First time in months. Maya was not lifting just her shoulders. She was lifting her entire body. She rose halfway off the wheelchair seat, shaking like a leaf, but standing on her arms. Fighting. Believing. Breaking through fear. She held it for 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Her voice cracked. Daddy. Nick, look. I'm doing it. Mr. Adewale ran to her side, kneeling beside her. Yes, he whispered. Yes, my baby. You are. Maya's arms finally gave out, and she slowly sank back down into the wheelchair. But she didn't look sad. She smiled. A big, proud, glowing smile. Nick dropped to his knees beside her. You are a champion, he shouted. You are stronger than all the people in this whole banana island. She laughed, wiping tears. I wasn't scared this time. Nick nodded. When I dance, I want you to feel brave. Maya looked at him with soft eyes. And I do. Mr. Adewale placed his hand gently on her head. My daughter, you have just taken the biggest step of your life. Nick looked at both of them. His voice trembled slightly. If she keeps moving like this, maybe one day, she can walk again. Mr. Adewale swallowed hard. For the first time, he believed it too. Not because a doctor said it, but because a homeless boy with nothing was giving his daughter everything. Maya kept on trying every single day with Nikki. At first, her tiny legs trembled like dry sticks in the wind. But Nikki never gave up on her. Every afternoon, he arrived under the mango tree with the same soft smile and the same gentle voice. Come on, Maya, lift one leg. Yes, just like that. I am here. I won't let you fall. Day after day, attempt after attempt, Maya's body began to remember what happiness felt like. She stood. She lifted. She moved. She took her first tiny step. Then another. Then another. Soon her steps became slow walks. Her slow walks became stronger ones. She could now move from the mango tree to the little wooden bench by herself. The billionaire could not believe it. Tears filled his eyes as he watched his daughter, who had not walked for so long, now walking towards him with shaky legs but a brave smile. One afternoon, he called Nikki with a trembling voice. Come, my boy, come here. Sit with me, he said, patting the chair beside him. Nikki sat down carefully, unsure why the man's voice was shaking. The billionaire swallowed hard, then asked softly. What do you want me to do for you? Anything. Just say a word, and it shall be done. Nikki lifted his eyes slowly. For the first time, he held the billionaire's hand with confidence. His small fingers curled around the man's palm. There is something, Nikki whispered. It shall be done, just take me to see my mother. The billionaire's heart squeezed. Your mother? He asked. Nikki nodded. She is sick. She lives on the road. She doesn't know me, she doesn't even know herself. Without wasting a second, the billionaire stood up. Show me where she is, he said. Nikki led him through narrow streets, past broken fences, until they reached the place where his mother sat on the bare ground. She was catching invisible flies in the air, smiling at shadows, chasing footprints that did not exist. Her hair was rough. Her clothes were torn. She didn't even know Nikki was there. The billionaire placed a firm hand on the boy's shoulder. I know the best doctor in the country, he said. Your mother will be fine. I promise you. Minutes later, an ambulance with flashing lights arrived. They lifted her gently, placing her on a clean stretcher. For the first time in his life, Nikki cried. Not from hunger, not from pain, but from hope. Thank you, sir, thank you, he whispered. The billionaire nodded. You saved my daughter, let me save your family. From that day, everything changed. Nikki returned to school. He moved into the billionaire's mansion. And the man told him, "From today onward, this is your home. You will never sleep under a bridge again. You will never beg on the roadside again. You are safe now." The next morning, Nikki stood in front of a large mirror wearing his brand new school uniform. The shirt was clean. The shoes were shining. His eyes sparkled like someone who just discovered a new life. Behind him, Maya stood with her hands on her hips, pretending to be serious. Nikki touched the collar of his uniform and whispered, "God, if this is a dream, please don't wake me up." Maya burst into laughter. "My friend, this is not a dream," she shouted. "This is your forever lifestyle." They held hands and ran into the garden, chasing butterflies, dancing between the flowers like two children who finally found happiness. From the balcony, the billionaire watched them. The wind touched his face gently. Joy filled his heart, overflowing like water from a full cup. For once in his life, his home felt complete. Nikki did not have money, food, or a home, yet his pure heart and kindness healed a billionaire's daughter. It shows that you don't need to be rich to make a difference. Nikki helped Maya walk. The billionaire continues paying for Nikki's mother recover treatment. And always visiting her. One good act led to another. Kindness always returns. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment for more wonderful African stories.